The definitive hardest mod in Hoi4. Known in the community for emulating the multiplayer meta so well, it sends 99% of people straight to the uninstall button. Wait, no one told me that was an option. But luckily, I'm on a quest to use my truly concerning number of hours on this game to show you the most broken paths and strategies on each major nation in the game. Starting off with the
Soviet Onion.
But here are the rules. No meme strats and no Space Marines. We are doing this purely historical, where the only way we can win is through pure meta skills and min-maxing. Each difficulty option in the mod is already miles better than expert AI or spawning in max factories like we did last time, but in this pile, there is a very special option.
Machine card, AI.
Cheat! No, turn it back on, not my big boy voice. Imagine all the axes working together like multiplayer meta, with minors like Romania doing mass mobilization defensive infantry and Germany putting all their force into doing meta tanks and air. Yeah, that's just a normal option. This? Oh, let's just say the Axis won't have to worry about mass mob infantry when they have enough mechanized to cover the front line 5 times over. And yeah, that is 40 with meta divisions made to defend against multiplayer tanks. All the research, industry and focus tree order is also set up in this mod to emulate the most meta strategy already, so much so that Germany will have more factories than us as the Soviets. We also have this option here that doesn't do much for us since these are our only allies, but it does allow me to show you some multiplayer strats without having to recheck equipment licenses all the time manually. So we're gonna leave it on, but let's begin. To start scaling our industry quickly, we're gonna start off with electronics and construction as our first research options. We're gonna leave one slot open to juggle that into electronics later. The special thing about the Soviet focus tree is that we want to rush the Stalin Purge as quickly as possible, but this comes along with these little focuses that have 170-day tickers on them. So I'm gonna show you how to navigate this tree and how we're gonna get good stuff like war economy really early. We do want to coordinate some stuff with our research as well. Like for example, this focus we want for our level 4 industry tech. And then we have Soviet artillery, which lets us rush down the anti-tank technology that gives us the best guns for our tanks, the advanced high velocity cannon. Construction is quite simple. We want to max out the infrastructure in Moscow and then start building civs in high infrastructure tiles like Stalingrad. Once the infrastructure finishes though, we switch back to building in Moscow. It's really important to start doing our spies immediately so that all of our collaborations on the Baltics and Finland can finish in time. Plus in this mod, the AI goes hardcore on spies, and if we don't have anything to counter their spy networks, they're gonna completely destroy our planning and entrenchment. Our military setup is gonna be the really interesting part. We're actually gonna go down to 5 on guns, but we do want a lot of support equipment, because we do need it for our infantry, but also because of this tank refurbishment plant. This equipment designer gives massive bonuses to our tank production, so we wanna fill it up as early as possible, and putting in more factories in the support equipment gains us funds daily. So we're gonna put 9 on support equipment. We don't need any artillery, 1 factory on light tank, and 2 on trucks. The rest we can delete, but now for the really important part. By the way, for the Navy, we just let it finish building all this stuff. But for the really important part, we have enough XP that we can create the base version of our heavy tank. The strat here is that we can start building the stuff we really want early on, and then we can convert it later. Otherwise, we would have to start building our tanks like 1940, and we wouldn't have enough time to get them all out. To create the conversion tank, we just want to put on the cheapest heavy machine gun that we can change later. The rest of the stuff we put on that we actually want in our final tank. So it's gonna be 3 small cannons, a torsion bar, and a diesel engine for some extra reliability, since it's gonna be our main tank. Although reliability doesn't really matter unless you're attritioning, it is going to be our main tank and we're going to have a lot of them, so I'm just going to go for a little bit more, just in case. It all depends on your microing and how much attrition your tanks are taking. We would also go for some ticks on armor and engine if we had enough XP, but we don't. But even if we did, we would only put 4 ticks on armor, because if you go over that adds a lot more resources. We're not going to use a designer, but the plan is that we're going to also build up the infantry tanks designer that is going to give us good stats. So when we're designing our tank, we put on the infantry tanks designer, but for our production line, we're going to put in the tank refurbishment plant for the extra production. But to start building up funds for this designer, we are going to have to put it on some production lines. You can actually hold down shift so you can queue up all the things you want, so it takes them automatically. These are the important ones I'm showing you. The center, you have an option for more soft attack or more hard attack and piercing. In multiplayer, you always want the hard attack and piercing, and also in this mod. So that's what we're going to take. Plus this little fella here, once we've completed the focus. So we're going to build some of our heavy tanks with this designer. I'm going to put the funds you gain per production on screen. so you can see how much it is. And then we're also gonna build some anti-air. We're gonna need a lot of this for our tanks and infantry. Plus, I'm gonna show you later a little trick you can do against enemy casts if you have a lot of anti-air. Keep in mind that in this mod, Germany is gonna be logi striking us and casting us down heavily. So this is the final production with the right equipment designers. The first focus is gonna be path of Marxism-Leninism. We're also gonna set our navy to train. We're probably not gonna use it, but it's good to have the navy experience if for whatever reason we wanted to go down the special forces doctrine for the Marines. Waiting for this to fill up so we can juggle it into our electronics for that extra 30 days. Once it's filled up, we're gonna pick our machine tools and then go back to electronics to get that extra spice. Since the AI goes pretty meta with the spies and encryption and decryption, we're actually gonna have to go pretty multiplayer meta ourselves as well. So our first pick is gonna be suicide pills, which is gonna help our own operatives not get captured. And if they do get captured, they just die. Next up is gonna be the center to go down the Stalin route. Once the info on Moscow is done, we're gonna let it finish the civ it's building on Stalingrad, but then we're gonna start building in Moscow. It's just a tiny little micro we can do for some extra efficiency. We also have the NKVD advisor who we can't fire, who gives us -5% stability, which isn't that bad. But we want to get our stability pretty high because it gives us factory output and also some consumer goods that we can't see right now since it's below 50. We can recruit our first spy. We're going to take that dude with the German nationality so it doesn't get captured as much. A good trait to look out for is counterintelligence, but we don't have that right now. We're going to put him to spy in the Baltics immediately so we can get our collabs early. And what collabs give us is extra factories once we annex them. We go for the Stalin constitution now. We have the Japanese border conflict. It's going to give us a land doctrine cost reduction once we win it. And also this event with Turkey, where we want to actually mobilize so we get some extra base war support plus 5%. There's no downside to this. With the electronics done, we're gonna go for the level 2 research tech. Now with our first 100 PP, we're actually gonna do something you might not expect. We're gonna take improved worker conditions because that extra stability is gonna pay off in the long term. And we don't care about the factory output or consumer goods right now. Can't take war economy before the Spanish Civil War anyway. Plus, we're not gonna go free trade either here. The Stalin paranoia system is activated. We're gonna start purging anyone who looks at us funny. Looking funny or funny looking? That is the question. If the paranoia gets too high, we're gonna start losing people. So we're gonna game this as well. The border conflict started, but we're gonna win this easily. Now there is a thing, you usually don't want to build any factories in these tiles, because in multiplayer you're gonna get pushed back and lose all of these tiles, so you build over here. Another good tile to build in is Volkov, because it has a dam that gives us extra construction speed. There's also another dam in Zaporizhia, but again that's bit too close to the front line again, so it might not be good. There is a 80% tile here as well that it's risky to build in. Plus here you have to build 3 military factories per tile in at least 10 states that are past Moscow because of the Tankograd focus. Let me show you. Here that gives you maximum in 10 states you get 1 building satellite and 1 military factory in every state in the Urals or in the Far East with at least 3 military factories. Now what this actually means is that most of these states past Moscow and Stalingrad, not actually past the Urals. These 60% tiles, you want to build on these. But since I'm hoping for a full hold and we're not going to lose these tiles, I'm actually going to build on Kharkov as well. We get a 45% cost reduction from winning the border conflict. We want to start doing passive defense now and also get our second spy as quickly as possible. With the Stalin constitution done, we can take the Zinovievo terrorist center to start our first great purge. Ay. Nah, we don't care about any of these dudes. It does decrease our political paranoia though. But now you see, we have our first delay focus where we have to wait a bit before taking it. The options we have are the industry ones and then the political power ones. Now the way we're looking at this is we want to get war economy as early as possible. For that we need to send an attaché to Spain to get some extra war support, which we're then going to use to take war economy. So the way the focuses line up, we can actually take the heavy industry focus first and then take internal Soviet affairs and still have enough PP to take war economy as early as possible. With the basic machine tools done, we actually have a big decision to make, concentrated versus dispersed. Now if you want to upgrade stuff, change production lines, like overall be more chill about things, then dispersed is the way to go. But you have everything planned out and you don't plan on switching production lines, then concentrated is going to give you more equipment in the long run. So we're going to go concentrated. Once a spy network gets big enough, you can put it on quiet intel network, so it's less likely to be captured. Okay, the civil war has started. We can't send an attaché yet, so we're going to improve relations first. We also want to send volunteers. For grinding in the civil war, you want to have big fat divisions like you. But we don't want to waste too much XP making all of our templates fat, so we're going to use our existing templates to grind cavalry and panzer leader, But then we're gonna make one big infantry division for everything else. To really make our tanks as good as they can get, we want to make one general a level 6 combined arms military high command. Combined with our generals and field marshal's own traits, that's already 3 bonuses stacked on top of each other. But we're gonna start off with Vasily Chukov. Let's send 3 cavalry and 3 infantry. Send Atachi, stop improve relations. We go construction 2, once construction 1 is done. And with heavy industry also done, we're gonna take now addressing internal affairs. Also send some tank bombers to do close air support in Spain. We're gonna put our volunteers on a garrison order so they can get their organizer trait, and then we're gonna let them go off on their Sigma grind set. Our volunteer infantry is gonna be the same as our converts. We're running low on infantry equipment, so I'm gonna delete some of our dudes. These are the traits we're going for, by the way. After we've maxed out passive defense, we're gonna take Invisible Ink and then take New Soviet Woman as our next focus. Taking war economy now gives us a lot of extra factories, so we can start building in Volkov now as well. When we have the next spy, we of course want the German one again. And with 2 spies now, we can actually do our first collaboration on Latvian. Also interrogation techniques as our next agency upgrade. We still have 70 days left till we can do this focus, so before that we're gonna take infrastructure effort and then the Comintern. A good thing with the unplanned offensive modifier is that we're actually losing less men and equipment for the same XP. Because XP isn't calculated based on the total amount of damage done. It's dependent on the ratio of your damage to them versus their damage to you. Plus of course all the combat width and time in battle and all that stuff as well. We're gonna do the cryptology department and go down the decryption route so we can start decrypting all of the Axis ciphers. This is so we have more army intel on them. But we don't want to do any encryption before the war starts. Or rather, we want to upgrade it just before the war. This means they're gonna start decrypting us during the war, which means they won't have a broken cipher on us. I'm gonna queue up our first 5 traits for our tank production designer. I want to be notified for a 6th, because then we can take a policy that gives even more production. When we have options to investigate our Air Force and Navy, we also want to take them because we're really not gonna use them, so the debuffs don't matter, and we can decrease our political paranoia. We're just throwing them under the bus for the greater good. The next research is gonna be improved machine tools for more efficiency cap, and then we're gonna take Captain of Industry with our PP. See, the Axis is already allying each other in 1936. They're licensing tech to each other, they're research boosting, they're civ boosting. I'm gonna build the next civs in these 60% slots here, but leave enough slots open for the military factories later. With the Comintern done, we can take the anti-Soviet Trotskyist Center for our next great purge. We lose some people from the purge, but no one important. But here we have another 170 days wait time, so now we can expand the agit prop that gives us a decision that lowers our consumer goods. Next research concentrated 2. To get our stability as high as possible, I'm gonna take Popular Figurehead as our next BP pick. We're gonna do NKV Diplomacy next, but since our paranoia is quite high and the focus raises it, I'm gonna do an Investigate Navy decision to help out with that. For Artillery Designer, we do want this policy that gives plus 20% research, so we're gonna try to get our 6th trait as early as possible. Oh yeah, our Latvia collab is done. We can start doing one on Estonia now. Investigate the Navy, because they smell like fish. Yeah, that's a good reason. Probably a better reason than historical Stalin. Since our generals are close to leveling up, I think I'm gonna spend XP on getting bold attack, so the generals get more attack stats on them. Ooh, a nice forest style for grinding. Yum yum yum. With construction 2 done, our industry research is coming to a close. We're not gonna take construction 3 yet, so what else are we gonna research? We don't wanna research mech or guns yet. We're gonna even license those things anyway, but things we do want are support companies, which by researching we also get more funds for our tank the production designer. Then also some armor later and also a radio. But for now, let's just do the radio. This dude's traits are getting pretty close, so I'm now going to switch back to our boy Chukov. NKVD Primacy, we now have one more operative slot, which we can do more sneaky business with. But now we can take Workers' Dictatorship. Our infantry equipment designer has these 3 really good traits we can take after we finish the Merge Plants focus right here. This focus actually gives buffs to most of our designer companies. MIOs are a really important part of this build. They can get really OP if used well, which is why you can never disregard them, especially the tank one in the Soviets. The communists want to execute the leader of nationalist China, but we don't want it to happen since they're good against Japan. When you get this really good focus pop-up, you always want to take it. Minus 15 consumer goods for a whole year is a massive bonus. Now we also have the agit prop high yield decision that gives us minus 15% consumer goods. If we took it now together with the Spanish cold reserves, them stacking on top of each other actually gives us a bit less than if we took them alone. But there is a case to be made that early production is always better than late production. since early production means you have more stuff out for the war, and late game doesn't matter much anyway, so it's really not that clear cut. I'm gonna wait a bit for now though. Whenever you have these decisions pop up though, where you have to take minus 10% construction speed for less paranoia, you're gonna have to take the L and political power hit. Losing construction speed is not something we want. With machine tools finished, I'm gonna do logistics company now with our tank MIO. Our plan is to annex all the Baltics and justify in Finland, which is why we're collabing them. We could also justify in Iran and fight them, but I think that's a bit too gamey. We would get a lot of good army XP from it though. We still have 35 days left before we can take this focus, so we're gonna do found the PCDI, which gives us access to all the other stuff we want to do later. To create a good tank to dunk on the noobs, you usually want to put a light armored company on it. And to create these light tanks for the recon company, you usually want to stack as much breakthrough as you want on them. So we're gonna leave 2 slots open on these dudes, so we can put on the radio 3, but the other we want to leave for a dozer plate. Because the other thing that's good to stack a lot is entrenchment. Getting a lot of entrenchment is basically a flat multiplier to every stat your tank has when they're defending, which as you will see later gets quite broken. But we also want to switch out the engine and suspension here for more breakthrough. Another thing you could do is a Paralight airborne armor, which is basically the same thing except you get a bit more breakthrough. One of our operatives got cooked, not good, but you can still do the collaboration in Estonia. Nikolai, no! Sometimes during these purge events you get cowed by Stalin on some random generals, which is not a good thing. But we don't care about this dude. What's that quote that goes, first they came for the communists and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist, but then they came for the femboys and now Hoi4 only has 10 players? Something like that. I'm gonna take accomplish a high yield now, which as you can see in practice actually only gives us minus 2% consumer goods. Our dudes are getting veteran status as well, which is very nice. We can later convert these dudes into our tanks in a way that our tanks still retain the same experience. But it's time for the third splurge now. We're gonna be purging all over the place. Conk 2 is done, that's good. We're not gonna do the next one yet. We're actually gonna take our field hospital. Now what field hospital is really good for, other than the stats on screen, is it actually gives plus 10% HP to all of our mechanized in our tanks, which is a really good buff. HP basically counts as strength in combat and measures how much equipment and manpower we lose while we take damage. So big HP, very good. Ooh, I forgot this. We should have changed this to infantry tanks designer. My bad. We all make mistakes, okay? Get off my armor train would also be good, since they are gonna bomb our logistics a lot. So I'm gonna go with that. I think it's time to level up our decryption as well. Let's see, who are we snipping? 5 of our generals will get cowed by Stalin. Let's see, did our good generals get it? Seems not. We've gotten the option to behead the snake, which allows us to assassinate Trotsky. If we do that, we would raise our stability by easing Stalin's mind about the Trotsky coup. But before that, we're gonna go for finish the 5-year plan. This will give us foreign experts, giving us a design company and also decisions to boost our industry. Oh, we have enough PP. I'm gonna take army reformer now. We wasted a bit by waiting too much, but it's okay. We would like to switch out the NKVD advisor for more stability, but before that, we gotta save up PP for the foreign experts decisions we're gonna get. They cut off our supply here. Oh, there's no supply connection to the capital. Luckily, we're gonna be done with Rangers soon, so we can start cleaning up all this big blob of encircled men, all moist from the heat. Thriving in their lane, maybe even flourishing. Technological advance from Tanutuva. What did they get? Let's see. Infantry equipment 2. So we're gonna get infantry equipment 2. Wait, let's see. Does someone have anything better? Canada? No, they don't have anything better. So we're gonna license it from Tanutuva. We're gonna switch out their production line instead of building a new one, because it's still the early days and we don't want to build much gun ones anyway. It destroys our production efficiency, as you can see. And we also get a minus 25% licensing cost. Now in multiplayer, you will always get licensing for stuff, but in vanilla, you can just build gun ones till eternity and you will still crush everyone with this build. That awkward moment when you have 1 point of experience left to grind and you lose your forest tile, so we're gonna have to go up there. Let's go for the signals company since we're gonna need it as well. We're not gonna go for mass mob, so the extra reinforce rate is gonna be very good for our infantry. We might actually have the PP to send an attache before taking the construction company. 100 plus 150. We have 35 days. We don't have it. We could send an attache to China to get 25% of their army experience. I think I'm gonna do it. We are gonna get foreign expert stuff a bit later, like a smidge, but I think it's worth it for the XP. All part of the plan, except for the parts that aren't. 5-year plan finished. Now, foreign experts. Always foreign experts. The construction company is very good. And we got the ranger and we got the adaptable. Now we are cooking. But with our industry looking quite healthy and war fast approaching, it's about time we start building some military factories. As I said before, we want to build in the good states, but also all the past the Urals tiles. Man, this emoji is scary as fuck. Freaky looking guys. 1 here, 3 here, 2 here, 1 here, 3 here. This one gets a infrastructure bonus, so I'm not gonna build here. And then 3 here. We don't have to grind Ranger and Hillfighter on this dude as well. Reason being, there's actually a new game mechanic that you can see in the Hoi4 wiki that says I'm too fucking lazy. Yeah, it would actually be better, but we're gonna persevere. Plus, double adaptable is usually bannerinoed anyway. Let's just grind veterancy for our dudes here. Next up in the research bucket is gonna be armor upgrades actually. This also gives us land warfare breakthrough progress, which we're gonna need for our special projects later. The Nazi Griller 3000 and an armored support vehicle. Very nice. But we do have to wait a few more days for the construction company because we sent the attaché to China. We have how many days left? We have 70 days left, so we can do 2 more focuses. The research slot is good, but we should also do Behead the Snake, since we're gonna be justifying in Finland, and when you declare an offensive war, your stability nosedives pretty hard. So I'm gonna do 1 development first, and then Behead the Snake. We like to get a scout plane from one of the allies. We don't want to research the recon stuff ourselves. Let's see if someone has it. No, they don't yet. Okay, that's fine. We can put 1 factory and armored trains to start building up efficiency. We're done with the Estonia collab, so we can start doing the Finnish one now. What do we research next? Let's go for the conversion. We're gonna need max conversion anyway for our tanks. We've scraped together enough political power to take the construction company, and you won't believe what it's gonna give us. Yes, construction speed. But the real source is actually these experts we can bring in. Germany with the growth, UK with the retention, Japanese with the base, and USA with the cap. The US obviously being the best option here, so we're gonna smooch on them a bit to improve relations. Our tank general grinded so hard they got infleeter, so now we actually have the option to take ambusher as well, with the +5 entrenchment that makes our tanks even harder to push once they're dug in deep. Since one of our spies got captured, we actually have to take 1 away from Finland and put him on Mexico. You need a spy network on Mexico, otherwise you can't do the Assassinate Trotsky mission. But you know what time it is. It is time to finish the purge. So let's do our last focus. We have our dudes just chilling here, so I'm gonna turn them into our tank converts. We're gonna use our 36 width infantry division, make a duplicate out of it, and train up some dudes with this new template once they've gotten reinforced with the extra manpower. Later on, there's a trick to convert all of these dudes into our tanks without losing the experience, giving us plus 25% more attack. Otherwise, we would have to train the tanks themselves, which would waste a lot of valuable equipment. Same thing goes for our veterans here, which are gonna be even better. Let's do more basic armor protection. We can bring American experts now. When we look at the intelligence tab, you can see Germany's way ahead of us in both civs and mills. We gotta keep clicking the high yield decision, but keep in mind the cost is gonna double each time we use it. We also have enough spy network to get our first collaboration on Finland. Let's get that done. And this is our last purge. Stalin's totally chill now. You don't need a therapist, you just need to execute all the people who you don't like. Comment down below who you would like to. Nah, please don't do that, I will delete your comments. Only thing left is to get rid of the Trotsky coup. Let's go for the research slot now. And after that, we're gonna rush down Tankograd to get those extra factories. Oopsie doopsie, I forgot about the Baltics actually. Annexing them early gives us a lot of good industry. So I'm gonna do the Baltic annexation focuses first. And then we're gonna do all the other stuff I said. We would justify on them and just declare war if we could. But in vanilla, the allies start guaranteeing everyone, so we can't really do that. You lying piece of shit, how dare you waste my precious time with your wrong focus order. The Reddit will hear about this. Once we have more mills, we're gonna put them all on our tanks. And it's about time we start doing our level 3 industry techs now. Ooh, our agent got killed in the Trotsky assassination. Sucks to suck, I guess. Once we brought in the foreign experts, we can specialize in either the civilian or military industry. Or if you've suffered a recent head injury, you could also specialize in navy. But since we're fully into military production now, the extra factory output and military factory construction speed is gonna be the better option here. Conversion tech is done, we're gonna go for concentrated 3 now. Claims in the Baltic is done, and now we're gonna go for the research slot. To annex the Baltics, we're now gonna have to spend 75 political power for each country. Latvia has more factories, so we're gonna start annexing Latvia first. We're getting... wait, Tuva got something? But we're getting close to our maximum XP cap. We're basically there already. But we don't want to take any doctrine yet, since we don't have the military guy who reduces land doctrine cost. So we're actually going to take one of these. Quick improvisation would be good in multiplayer, but here we don't really need it. The thing we want is max entrenchment, so we can just keep stacking more bonuses. We're actually not going to get the maximum amount of entrenchment, since they are going to be spying on us, and enemy spy networks lower your entrenchment and planning bonus. Construction 3. When we annex Latvia, make sure that we Always set the occupation law to liberated workers. It's a good middle ground between getting those extra factories, but also good compliance growth. Our first collaboration is done and finished. We can do a second one. Let's add more to our construction queue here. Oh yeah, Tanutuva got something. Anti-tank 2. We're not going to produce any of it, but we're still going to license it, because when we have a license of it, we also get a 20% buff on our research on it. I'm going to justify in Finland now, so we can keep grinding there once everything is done in Spain. Let's do our flame tank design that we're going to convert later. Again, prioritizing breakthrough and leaving one slot open for a dozer blade. The Intervor chassis is completely fine. Upgrading your chassis to a newer one gives you very small bonuses actually. One factor is enough for now. We do want some mech though. Let's see. Do you have mech? No mech. We want some mech. Sadly, no one has any mechanized infantry. The British have cheaper gun 2s, but we can't switch our line anymore. We would lose all the efficiency. We got our extra research slot, and now we're gonna do anti-tank with it. Not just to get the anti-tank itself, but also for the land warfare breakthrough that our special projects need. But as I said before, we're now going for the tankograd focus, and to get it, we're gonna have to do this, which gives us a free land warfare facility, plus some research bonuses and a 5% extra cap. China has been overrun, but luckily there are some good news. Trotsky has been politely convinced to stop any of his counter-revolutionary activities through a novel new cognitive behavioral therapy method known as ISACs into the cranium. An extraordinary leap in medical research. But now we can put our third spy on Finland to speed things up. Mongolian Republic got an advancement. Let's see. Oh, it's on now. If you're researching mechanize yourself, always make sure to tick up this production cost here. It cuts it in half. But yes, we're gonna start producing this. Let's put 10 on them. Let's get one on medium flame tank first. Let's actually put 5 more on guns as well. Let's take the other entrenchment one as well, since we're overflowing with XP right now. I'm not gonna take the last option here. I'm gonna actually wait till we gather more trade points and then take the 3 we have on the right here, which are a lot more better. But we do have to take our merged tank plants focus first, right here. And Lithuania is gone as well. Once the British got their scout plane, we're gonna license it and just put 1 factory on it. So we can do some air recon on the Axis and get our army intel up. Keep in mind, when we declare on Finland, we get a lot of debuffs and stability on war support, which is gonna hamper our industry, so we don't wanna grind too much here. Just get what we want and then get out. Or get in, because we're not leaving. We finished the anti-tank upgrade, now let's do the engineer 2. I'm gonna declare war on Finland now. I hope they're not gonna be too mad, but it's not like we're doing something horrible. We're just grinding our generals.
Vittu perkele, mitä helvetti.
You know, in the real Winter War, the Finns put up quite a resistance against the superior Soviet forces, even managing to, and it's gone. Actually, I skipped too much important things, we gotta go back. Our army XP is filling up again, so even though we don't have the military theorist yet, I'm gonna take our first doctrine, which is gonna be switching over from mass assault into grand battle plan. This is in some sense the best tank doctrine because of the massive planning bonuses you get, and it's also where we're going heavy into counterintelligence. Because if the enemy has a spy network on us, a good one, all that planning bonus is gonna be reduced to nothing. Another good thing with this doctrine is stacking entrenchment. If we put armored support companies in our tanks that have dozer blades, plus we get an armored engineer company, later on, with all that entrenchment, our tank stats are gonna be crazy when defending. Next research is gonna be anti-tank. As you can see, we have 20% extra bonus from the license. Moitti tactics. How about you moitti these balls? So funny. We got concentrated industry 3. Now we're gonna go for more anti-air. Because of the land warfare breakthrough, but also because of the air attack, which we need. Let's look at our, we got level 6. We can now take assembly line optimizer for extra cap and gain. Now, since we are going against the AI, there is an argument to be made for cutting corners instead. But for the sake of showing you the best tanks, I'm not gonna take that. So let's take this. For the designer itself, we gotta go down this left side and then take the production output, +5. And the stats designer is also missing 2 as well. Now we produced a scout plane, so we can start reconning on Germany. It's only 1 for now, but it's gonna reinforce, so it's fine. We just wanna put it up all over the axis to get some extra army intel. With the recon planes up and running, we're basically in the foreplay stage of the war now. As you can see, we are building up army intel, but to really optimize everything, we want to do a few more things. First, we want to upgrade our encryption, so they don't have decrypted cipher bonus on us. Then, we want to build up our spy network to the maximum amount. We already have air recon, and then we want to create an army department for extra 25% army intelligence. That's also why we're maxing out passive defense and doing counterintelligence, so they can max out their spy network, and there's also a chance that we might capture one of their spies. So we're basically trying to do a system where we're not only trying to maximize our own army intelligence, we're also trying to lower theirs. But let's not forget to keep building up our military industry. We've been getting a lot more slots as well from all the research. I want to get our last conversion technology now. Soon our general will be level 6. Yum yum. We have 160 PP, but I think we're going for the land theorist actually, not the elusive gentleman, because our army XP is getting very chunky. We finished Tankograd, now we get those 10 factories. Oh, 9 actually. I think I messed one tile up, but that's not a big deal. But now we go for merge plants to do those traits on the designers we talked about. I'm gonna do all of these doctrines now since we don't have any bonuses coming our way anyway. We've decrypted Germany and Romania, so now let's also do Hungary, Italy and Bulgaria. Anti-air upgrade is done. Let's see our breakthrough. Almost done. It would be nice to license Anti-air 2 from someone so we could get the research bonus for it. Nope, 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 no one. No one has done the Anti-air 2 yet. But no worries, we'll just do the logistics company then. Okay, we got the material and tank plants. We can look at our designers now. We still got one trait left before we can take that, but we do have a policy slot now. We actually want to take the armor one here, because the production doesn't matter for this one. And for infantry one, we can get the cap, and then we can get the cost. Oh, I didn't do that thing. When you license an equipment and put it into production, you can't put an MIO on the production line. So now we have our mech producing here with nothing. If we had just put a single truck into production and then put an MIO on it and then switched it into our licensed mech, we could have an MIO on it, no problem. But we will survive. But we're gonna go for the next industry bonuses now. So let's take 5-year plan. We have enough breakthrough to take the flame tech now. Gives us good stats on different terrains. Plus we can put a dozer blade on it for more entrenchment. I'm gonna upgrade our recon light tank now by putting on the radio and the dozer blade. We also want to stack up the armor ticks as much as possible for more breakthrough and then put on the infantry tanks designer. We haven't finished the last one for extra soft attack, but as you can see, we already get massive bonuses from it. And the extra reliability, don't worry about it. It don't matter. Reliability isn't the real stat. So let's start converting. We can upgrade our field hospital and start doing infantry equipment. We got the third 5-year plan, which isn't that nice, but now we're gonna get the real thing, which is these bonuses right here. And with this last trait, our infantry tanks designer is basically finished. We got all the good stuff. So we're now gonna switch out the production lines with the tank refurbishment plant. As you can see, we got so many bonuses here. Conversion speed, output cost, resource need, output itself, and efficiency cap and gain. You can see the buffs on the production line itself, where we have 15.67 tanks per day, that turns into 19.34. Plus we have extra cap as well, so it's gonna get even higher than that. I'm gonna put the dude who wasn't German into counter intel, so we have a bit more counter intelligence against the Axis spying on us. Oh, they put an Easter egg from real life in here. Only the real history nerds will recognize this one. But yes, we're gonna sign the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and now we can actually, for real, annex Finland this time. Let's see what we got here. We got liberated workers and 60% compliance. Let's let the factory percentage refresh so we can see what we get from here. 92%. So that's gonna be basically all of it once we let the compliance grow a bit as well. But let's build some more mills now with the factories we got. We built some in Tashkent and also in Vladivostok. I don't think Japan is gonna attack us, but in this mod they might. I forgot to show the fully grinded generals we have now. This dude is level 6 for the military high command bonus, and then we also have the traits to buff our tank divisions. The other dude is the same, but we also have adaptable from ranger and hill fighter, which gives us very good terrain penalty reduction. Other good traits to have would be commando to get the damage reduction against Cass, and then trickster for the makeshift bridges commander ability that gives you extra river attack. But you don't really need this for single player, it's mostly for multiplayer, for when a player is really hardcore defending behind the river line. We could start actually training more of our basic infantry now, so we're gonna edit our template as well. We're gonna replace the support artillery with anti-air, put in a logistics company, an engineer company, and signal company. The signals we need because of the initiative, which boosts our reinforce rate. If it isn't good enough, your reserves will never even get to the battle before you lose. But if you're going mass mob doctrine, you don't have to worry about the signal company, you already have enough reinforce rate. We're gonna use our PP to go up on conscription. We don't have anything else to go for right now anyway, so it's good to get the mobilization started early. We want to take our industry research next, and our focus is finishing soon, so we're gonna let our empty research slot tick down. Tank refurbishment plant has another open trait, so we're gonna do the merge plants one that gives production output plus 5%. Okay, focus done. Let's take the level 4 tools first. We also want to take the next focus that gives us 2 years ahead of time and 100% research bonus, so we can get Tools 5. But since we have time before Tools 4 is completed, we can actually start doing the Soviet artillery now. That gives us 3 research bonuses, so we can get the advanced high velocity cannon from the last anti-tank research. With our anti-air 2 research done, we don't actually want to switch our line, we just want to start producing a new line. So let's put 7 on that. But more importantly, we can now take the plus 20% research bonus from our artillery designer. That's gonna help us out with our anti-tank research. Oh, what did Mongolia get? Let me guess. Anti-air 2. No. What did you get? Oh, infantry equipment 3. That's very nice, very nice. Again, just make a new line, don't delete the old one. That would just remove all the efficiency. And also, like I said before, you don't have to do all this. You could just use gun once the entire game and be fine. This is just to show what a more multiplayer type game looks like. Let's put 7 on it for now. We don't want to touch this one at all. We'd otherwise demolish our gun production. Germany upgraded its encryption, so now we have to decrypt even more. This is why we have to have max decryption, otherwise we can't do jack shit. So I'm now gonna actually focus on decrypting Germany again and pause everything else. Poland refuses German ultimatum. That means World War II is gonna start now. Yes, Germany declares war on Poland. One of the broken things, like I said before in this mod, is that Germany can just focus completely on doing tanks, air and mech, while minors like Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania are going to be doing mass mob infantry and filling the front lines, so Germany doesn't have to care about that at all. Let's split off the scout planes and spread them around more. We've built a lot more of them now. The intel tab shows us we have gotten over 11% army intel just from air recon. Once our Germany spy network is at 100, there's no point in keeping all these dudes here. They just have a higher likelihood of being captured, so we're gonna remove all except one, and the one dude we do keep, let's put him on quiet intel network. What? Japan is justifying on us? Is that a thing? I did not expect that in this mod. I didn't think they would do that. I think this is historical. This would throw a big wrench into our build. Maybe it's just a focus though. We'll see. I'm gonna take the research bonus policy on our designer, since we haven't actually done any of our gun passives yet. Never mind, they're doing an actual full-on justification on us that's gonna finish in 130 days. I'm gonna start spying on Japan and doing air recon just in case. And let's also do our army department now, just in case Japan decides to invade us early. It's very annoying and slow to push here in Mongolia, so I think this place would hold, but I am gonna put a good chunk of troops here in Manchuria. I still believe we should be fine, we have enough of everything. Let's go up a bit on support equipment, and mech as well. We still have 100 days left for the justification, so our troops have well enough time to get entrenched. We could get this production output cost minus 10% here for our mech, so it is kinda bad that we messed up the designer here on our production line, but it is what it is. 2 more days, 2 more days. Alright, let's go. Only 51 days to get the anti-tank upgrade. 44 with the MIO bonus as well actually. We're now gonna go for steel casting industry and then the next industry focus. Flame tank is done, we can now do our flame tank design. It's gonna be basically the same as the light recon tank. We're stacking breakthrough, putting on a dozer blade and also putting on max armor techs. The only difference is, this time we're putting on a gasoline engine. Otherwise the reliability would be literally 0. Japan left the front line. Maybe we were safe after all. Would be nice if they did back off. Wouldn't have to worry about this whole second front line. We get a piece of Poland, but they're gonna be very honky-dory with their resistance. 122 days for the next anti-tank. Let's go. This is the current state of our production in 1940. We want to make one of our tank generals a field marshal and also give him ambusher for the extra max entrenchment. You want a dude with worse stats as your field marshal because field marshals only give half the bonus as a real general. For the infantry though, we want to put them all under one general. We are exceeding the cap, so we lose out on all the bonuses the general gives. But when your numbers get up to like 300, 400, 600 infantry, it gets very annoying to micro all of that and put them all under different generals. Turkey cancels the non-aggression pact. La 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 la. What the fuck? Well, fuck. The Japan justification is finished. Let's see what happens. I don't think they're gonna attack though. They're not putting any troops on the border either. With the industrial modernization done, we get our final industry research bonus, letting us take the final level of efficiency cap pretty early on in the game. The way we've rushed our industry here really lets us supercharge the production lines we have going since the start of the game, letting us pump out an insane amount of IC. The next focus is going to be positive heroism, so we can unlock Zhukov as our military high command, giving us armor genius and good stats on our tanks. Ooh, there are a lot of spies on us. We have a critical situation here. Our air recon is capped over Germany, so we're going to spread all the supply planes over all of the axis. Assembly line production is done, and as you can see, this next research only takes us 181 days. Since we don't want to switch any production lines anymore, we want the cap and the growth. We can do military support vehicles, so we can put armored engineer companies on our tank divisions. We got our final tank researcher. It's 173 days. We're cutting it close, but I think we'll be good. It's time we start researching our gun passives now. We're gonna use our PP to take the military high commands now. Of course, we want the combined arms expert, the armor genius, but also concealment for the extra enemy air support reduction. Let's take a look at the factories. See, they have a lot more mills and civs than us. But of course, they also annexed a lot. Let's take a look at their intel. Yeah, everything is capped. You can put this on quiet intel network as well now. we're gonna put one more dude on counterintelligence. We really don't want to lose all of our entrenchment. And this designer is basically finished now. We got all the major production buffs. We're fine for now, but Germany's gonna do these two focuses, the anti-Comintern Pact and war with the USSR, to give us basically a head start to know when they're attacking us. So it's good to keep an eye on this. Now let's talk about the anti-air trick to shoot down a lot of close air support in battles. The amount of cash shot down is dependent on the average air attack of your side, including the reserves. So if we have a couple of divisions with extremely high air attack in our reserves, while also keeping the total number of divisions down, increasing our average air attack, we can create situations where we're shooting down hundreds of casts per day. It can be annoying to make this work and micro it, but it's just a cool trick I wanted to show you guys. So let's train like 15 of these dudes. Positive heroism is done. We're now gonna do the strengthen mobilization plan to get all our military focuses done. We are cutting it a bit close with our anti-tank research because we do have to convert all of our tanks still. These are not the final tanks we want to use. Captured operative, but he's Swedish. Oh no, that's the one we don't care about. The Axis has put a small number of troops on our border. You can see we have the Hungarian mass mob. We have the mech with 20 mech inside of it, anti-air and anti-tank to shoot through our tanks, while also having all the meta support companies. And their tanks also have armor meme tank destroyers. We have 20,000 tanks in stockpile and we're making 55 per day. We don't care about the cavalry. Let's take the extra division organization. We actually want to start building supply soon. We want to hold on to as much as we can, so we're gonna entrench the whole front line. In multiplayer, you have to be a bit more methodical with your supply since you're gonna get pushed back. But make sure you're taking the transport is the sibling of the Red Army decision that gives you plus 20% extra construction on supply hubs and railways. Here in our doctrine, left side, we have a lot more planning bonuses. And with planning, you can basically punch through whatever you want once you've completely planned out. It's a complete percent modifier on all of your stats when attacking. The only way you counter this is again with the spy networks that can delete basically all of your planning. But that feature is oftentimes removed in multiplayer mods. This side also gives us the best attacking tactic in the game called breakthrough. We want to put a lot of troops along the Germany border because the way you cancel a non-aggression pact depends on the amount of troops you have versus them. So if we have double the troops than they do, they have to wait 25 to 30 months to pick the non-aggression pact. A simple way to buy us some more time to convert our tanks. Another Swedish operative. So amazing. More military factories. More and more. Yes, please. German operative captured. Now this is what we want. We gain some army intel on them, plus it's gonna be harder for them to spy on us. Let's see, well, our next thing is we want to go down on the rehabilitated military option. Another German operative captured, we love to see it. I'm gonna infiltrate the army in Germany as well now. We get extra army intel from that. I can poop out more infantry. Let's poop out this stack as well. We're aiming for the experts in camouflage to get the extra entrenchment and damage reduction against CAS. You can take a look at how much of our intel is being taken away by spies. As you can see, it's a pretty big chunk of it. And our planning is completely zero. But we'll work around it. We're going for entrenchment anyway right now. Planning is only useful for when you're attacking. 5 big booms. This is what we've been waiting for. We've gotten the last anti-tank research, and you know what this means? We can finally start designing our mega tanks. Our radio is at 43 days, so I'm gonna juggle this empty slot into our radio so we can get it faster and start converting our tanks. Streamline line is done, so we can take a look at our end stage production. Basically all of our production lines are over 100% efficiency and they still keep growing. Another one. We're just scooping them up like fish. Germany's doing the anti-Comintern Pact, so they're trying to get to the war with the USSR. We're gonna start building supply now, so let's take the decision I talked about before. We got the advanced radio done. Let's start designing now. It's important to get this right, otherwise you lose a lot of production efficiency. We obviously want to use the tank destroyers because they have better stats, but for now, we're just going to design a normal heavy tank. So obviously, we're going to use the advanced high velocity cannon and put on our advanced radio. We max out the armor ticks for extra breakthrough and then engine for speed. The infantry tanks designer is going to give us a lot of armor, hard attack, soft attack and piercing. And everything else, we just leave it as it was. Save it as a normal heavy tank. But now we're going to use the same chassis and save it as a tank destroyer that gives us extra 30% hard attack and piercing. To do everything correctly, we first want to switch out the production line with the new heavy tank we designed. If you're changing to the same exact chassis, you retain 90% of your efficiency. But if we changed it straight to the tank destroyer, we would only retain 70%. But because the new heavy tank destroyer and the new heavy tank both have the same design, we won't lose any efficiency. So this in-between step is very good for our production. Producing this new tank destroyer, we still have 110% efficiency. Gotta fix our resources though. And now we're making 40 heavy tank destroyers per day. And if we start converting them, that's gonna turn into 109 per day. Very nice. We also got our armored support vehicle, but this is basically a way to put IC in the early game into tanks without having to wait for your anti-tank research to come online. But with the armored support vehicle done, we can now take the armored engineer company. That's going to give us massive bonuses and also a lot of entrenchment. Much better than the normal engineer company. Assault engineer companies are also good, but if you're going for entrenchment and defensive power, you want engineer company. Plus you can see all the extra research like engineer company 3 also buffs our armored engineer company much more than the normal engineer company. Once we have enough tanks built up, we can convert all of our converts here without losing any of their experience status. So they retain the plus 25% attack on them. Otherwise we would have to train the tanks themselves, which is pretty wasteful. Let's also do infiltrate army on Hungary, I guess, since they have a lot of troops out as well. On non-aggression pact with Japan, for sure, that's very good for us. Again, take a look at the German versus our industry. They have a lot of factories on here. Oh, I accidentally lost the spinal truck here by putting one of these dudes in an operation. Not the best. Since it's pretty late, we have to put a bit more factories on the armored support vehicles so they actually have time to build up. They're really amping up the border here. Look at this. We have 40 with mechanized filling the entire front line with flame tanks and everything. We're gonna upgrade the radios on our light recon and flame tanks because even though we can defend our front line, attacking is a whole other beast. I'm gonna go unlimited to increase our resources. The only thing I'm worried about is them logistics striking us, which is usually banned in multiplayer. So we gotta keep our truck and train production up and running good. But our heavy tanks have stopped converting, so we can actually now start converting our troops as well. To convert the divisions, there's again a trick to it. So first we gotta design the new tank template we want. We're gonna put 2 motorized anti-air to reduce the debuff we get from enemy air superiority. And then I'm gonna go down on heavy tank destroyers and up on mech. So we have 8 tank destroyers and 10 mechanized. This is a bit more defensive. And for our support companies, we want armored engineer, logistics, medium flame tank company, field hospital, that also gives us our mech a good amount of HP. Armored engineer also gives all of our mech plus entrenchment and all of our tanks plus breakthrough. You can see the difference between armored engineer and normal engineer. Normal engineer is 3.5 while armored engineer is 6.8 entrenchment. So that's basically double the amount. And the last thing we want to do is add in our light tank armored recon company that gives us a lot of breakthrough, but also 10% hard attack on all of our tanks. To make the conversion work, we have to disable all of the equipment in this entire division. So by saving this, all of our converts will turn into this new division with no equipment in them. Wait, we can put a cool. Can we put a cool one? Yeah, much better. But now we want to make a duplicate of this with the equipment all enabled. Oh, I missed these veteran dudes. We have to do the same thing again for them. And now when we take our dudes without any equipment and turn them into templates that do have equipment, they retain all of their experience. Oh, we did lose some experience on these dudes because we didn't have enough armored support vehicles to reinforce into them. This is basically how it works. But Tiffy, this is an exploit. No, this is a game mechanic. Learn the difference. But now we have 56 full heavy tank divisions ready for war with a massive stockpile left as well of heavy tank destroyers and mechanized. Let's entrench all of our tanks and normal troops on the front line now. We also want to put a garrison order on our tank general so he has more troop capacity. Once our troops get out of here, Germany is gonna cancel immediately. Yep, there it is. And now it's gonna be any day now. And it's the moment you've been waiting for. They're attacking us. Let's see the red bubble. This is all mechanized and tanks that can pierce our tanks, but they're getting negative modifiers from trying to attack across a river. And it's not like they are bad, just look at our tanks. And this is with minus 50% attack from it being nighttime. Our defense is so high, they can't crit us at all. Or maybe they could do some damage with coordination. Coordination is a mechanic that makes multiple troops focus a percent of their attack only on one dude, making that dude receive more damage than the others. Which is what's happening to our infantry here, who is getting pushed out of the tile. But take a look at our tanks again. We are getting over 3,000 hard attack and 2,000 soft attack during the daytime. So even though they have mechanized and tanks that have high hardness, our hard attack is still enough to deorg them very quickly. They are making our infantry retreat, but our tanks are good enough to hold here. We just have to keep cycling them in once they're reorged again. When we make a full frontline battle plan order, that's gonna allow our tanks and infantry to start getting planning bonus as well, even though they're not assigned to it. They just have to be under the command of the field marshal. The AI even built their tanks so they have a positive river crossing penalty, so they actually gain attack from doing crossing over a river. But the mod is hard. If you didn't know the hard meta to create this many Soviet heavy tanks, you would get rolled over by this AI. That entrenchment is doing a lot of work here. And they're not even max entrenched. No, they're like halfway entrenched. They're logi striking us and we're starting to lose a lot of trucks and trains. So let's go up on both of these a lot. Let's look at the German air. They have 20,000 planes with 15k fighters and 4k CAS. And the AI is doing recon on us as well, as you can see. Right now we're making 35 trucks per day and we lost like 800 in the last 30 days, so we should be able to replenish all of it, although it is growing. With trains, not so much. But most of those trains are probably old and non-armored. To use the anti-air divisions, we want to have few of our normal dudes force attacking into a tile because the force attack makes them not deorg as quickly, and then we send the anti-air into the battle as reserves. By the way, look at the enemy mech defense. Even with our good tanks, this isn't going to be that easy. So here we are, 24, 32, 39, 42, 63, 64. This works a lot better when it's like one tile that's being constantly attacked, so you can just grind down the CAS. We're losing 1200 trucks per month, so this efficiency needs to start going fast. You basically never want to take away factories because you lose all the efficiency, but because we're pretty safe on the defensive front here, I'm gonna go down a bit on guns and put it on different things we need. But look at the front line here, man. You don't see this kind of stuff in Manila. We got so many tanks and mech and infantry all over the place. Let's see if we can attack. We even have some planning bonus. Let's click these and see. Boom, red. And as you can see, when we're attacking, the stats are quite different, and even though we're defending pretty good, we can't just click them willy-nilly. Although if we kept the battle going, I think we'd deorg them eventually. The thing with attack and defense and how it works is that every point of attack that's over the enemy's defense does about 4 times more damage. So here we have about half of our damage over their defense, which is very nice. And look at the amount of mech they have on each tile. If we had anything other than these huge heavy tanks doing massive damage, like for example, if we had a worse gun or a medium tank or special forces or any kind of infantry here, our attack wouldn't exceed their defense and it would be almost impossible to break these dudes. So this mod is quite hard. It's just that we made one of the best tanks in the game. Although yes, there is room for improvement. We could make our tanks more offensive by changing the support companies, putting in more tank destroyers instead of mech, and also maybe even changing the mech for Amtraks that give us special forces bonus. But we also want to destroy their entrenchment. So we're gonna put a spa here in the Königsberg Danzig area. Never mind, they have a lot of defense here. So I'm gonna put this dude back on counterintelligence. Otherwise we would have to put too many spies in that area. But yeah, this is what I meant. This isn't as easy as you thought, especially without air. Thank you for the logic striking. There's a bit more planes up in this air zone, so let's try the anti-air divisions again. Force attack, put our anti-air in there. The CAS flies in every 8 hours, so that's when the ticks happen. When some of our normal infantry stops attacking, our average air attack goes up and we should shoot down a bit more. See, 100 per tick. 100, 47. Like, you can shoot a lot of these down, especially when the battles go on for very long. When we attack from multiple sides, we increase the combat width, and more combat width also means more CAS in the battle. So we have 140 combat width here. That gives us how many planes? Over 400 planes. Again, this is just a fun trick to show. It would be very hard to micro this in a real game. But there's also options like just putting more anti-air in all of your infantry. Keep in mind, Germany still has more factories than us. They have 40 more military factories. Let's take a look at the planning on our tanks. They get 71% here. Oh, these guys only get 1. So they have different levels of spy network on different areas. So where they have less spy network, that's where we're gonna attack. The Axis is attacking these tiles, so I'm gonna put the anti-air in these tiles, so whenever they try to attack us, their CAS gets shut down to hell. Yeah, see? 100 per tick. Ooh, we have a naval invasion. I didn't put any garrisons, but this should be very easy to deal with. We have a lot of troops ready in China, plus we also have a lot of trained up troops as well that we can deploy whenever we want. We're gonna try to attack here with our well-planned tanks. Even though the bubble's red, we can eventually hold it out. We have a lot of tanks chilling as well that we can reinforce whenever we want. But look at this dude having over 3000 defense. The thing we're really hoping for here is to beat their mech before their other troops can reinforce in, which is called a reinforce meme. And it seems like we might be able to do it here. This is why signals or reinforce rate is really important. But yeah, our mega tanks beat the AI mech. Let's send our tank here to clean this up. We don't want any problems here. It's in the center and the south that the enemy has a lot of intel network, but up here we have 61 planning. So I think you guys know what time it is. It's time for the Soviet counteroffensive, minus the counter. Their 2000 defense is nothing against our 6000 attack. So we're just gonna try to encircle all of this Königsberg area. Took us a while, but we got it done. Now we just gotta take care of all the units we encircled. We can't really afford to face tank the German army. In a war of attrition, the Axis would beat us. So we gotta methodically do encirclements and whittle their troop count and manpower down and push them back that way. You can see the air superiority reduction that our motorized anti-air in our tank division gives us, so it's only 20% instead of 40%. So if we didn't have it, we would have minus 40% debuff on our breakthrough. But we got another big one here, another huge chunk of the German army gone. In the south here in Romania, we also have good planning, so this is where our next offensive is gonna be. We're gonna try to encircle all of these troops behind the river. 3000 defense again, but if we push past the river here, there are a lot of plane tiles for us to easily push through, where our tanks don't get any terrain penalties. We got like 50 divisions here with a lot of 40 width mech, so let's look at the manpower losses Germany gets here. This is a magic trick that turns 2 million into almost 3, so that's like 800,000 Germans right there. But the Romanian offensive continues. We're gonna see if we can maybe attack across the river to link up with our northern offensive. Okay, that didn't work out, but our tanks up north did good, so we're still gonna get a good pocket here. Once this pocket is eliminated, we can just flood into Greece and Bulgaria and just take over the entirety of the Balkans. With the massive Axis losses here, we can afford a full-on offensive. Romania is forced to capitulate once we take over all the major victory points, but as we try to push into western Poland, Germany has 2,000 close air support and 3,000 fighters ready to stop us. So we're just gonna continue our process of doing encirclements and taking over vital Axis industry. Our supply is a bit concerning since we don't have enough trains actually anymore. But with the extra factors we put on our supply, we should pull through eventually. There's no point in really attacking any of these mountain tiles here, we just be bashing ourselves into a meat grinder. We got another big pocket forming here. You know, if we didn't have these highly specialized, very good divisions, we couldn't really beat this. If we just had, like, for example, very good infantry, or like other divisions with like motorized or like even worse tanks or something like that, we would just bash into them and we just lose the attrition war. The only way we can win is by breaking these defensive lines and then encircling them. We haven't decrypted Japan yet, so let's get on that. Oh, I actually forgot to encrypt ourselves as well. This should have been done right before the war actually. Since we are being kinda careless with our supply and we have low reliability on our tanks, we are losing a little bit of them to attrition here. But when you can fill the front line with so many tanks anyway, the better stats in your tanks are always gonna overvalue if you had more tanks. So kids, if someone comes up to you and says reliability matters, you yell stranger danger. The front line is really starting to thin out, especially in northern Germany where they're extra weak. So we're gonna concentrate our effort into taking Berlin. The front line basically collapses here, letting us encircle all of the North German defenses. And it's not looking good in the south either, but you shouldn't play with your food this much. So let's stop this dilly-daddling and let's take Berlin. This basically marks the end of Germany and we're just gonna roll through the entire country now. By taking Berlin, we trigger Endsieg, which gives them a lot of bonuses, but I don't think total war is enough to save them now. The difference in casualties is massive, with us only losing 750k men, while the Axis has lost over 13 million. But one by one, the Axis alliance falls, ending with German capitulation and Soviet troops in southern Italy. As the benevolent communists we are, we liberate all of the Axis by puppeting them. For some reason we can't declare war on France, so bamboozle is required here. I didn't take the field marshal traits because I wanted to explain them to you guys later, and then I completely forgot about them. But the good things to have would have been thorough planner for max planning. And other good traits to have, for example to better defend, would have been the defensive doctrine for max entrenchment, logistics wizard for more supply, and aggressive assaulter for breakthrough. We roll over the allies in Europe and we almost basically have the entirety of mainland Europe. And to top it off with a cherry on top, we also take Manchuria and Korea from the Japanese. The Americans and British try to save the Netherlands, but they aren't a match for our tanks with over 3,500 hard attack. Hopefully after watching this, you can finally stop sucking, in Hoi4 of course, and maybe even enjoy the game. But anyway, comment down below what other country you would like me doing this kind of guide on. It's probably gonna be Germany, but after that, the world is our oyster. Until then, love you guys, and I'll see you next time.